Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Encourage Mindset, a podcast that's focused on developing you, but not only that, we want to push you to become your best self possible. Today, I have an exciting guest with Randi, Lynn, Quigley. She's going to be talking about her story, how she got to where she is today, but also some mindset and developmental tricks and tips as well. So, Randi, why don't you tell the audience a little bit more about you and your story and how you got to what you're doing today?
Hi, Ethan. So excited to be here. Sorry, guys, excuse my voice a little bit. But so I'm a full-time realtor. I've been a realtor for full-time now 12 years. And I just started coaching. So I'm a real estate coach, business coach with, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Grant Cardone. So I'm a business coach with Grant Cardone, and I am a mom, entrepreneur. So that's kind of a little bit about who I am. You said also too, like how I started, or what would you like to know?
What got you into real estate?
So I actually was a stay-at-home mom first. And right now I have 4 kids, but I originally, when I got into the business, I had 3 young kids and I was looking for something that I can do from home. So I started off actually selling protein shakes. Have you ever heard of Visalis before?
I have not, but
Okay.
I have made protein shakes. I worked at
Okay.
Gold's Gym for a little bit, made some protein
Awesome.
shakes.
Cool. So I started out my sales business as selling protein shakes because when I had my 3 young kids at home. And I remember it was like the first year, and it was a company where it was in multi-level marketing and you can win like BMWs. And I earned, me and my then husband at the time, a BMW in less than 12 months, made over $120,000 in less than 12 months. So here I am, like, okay, I sell protein shakes, like being from a stay-at-home mom to this, like what can I do that I actually really like? Like I liked it, but it wasn't like, it was just kind of like fun. Like I couldn't see myself selling protein shakes for the rest of my life, you know? So
Hmm.
real estate, my ex-husband actually was a realtor, but long story, we have to go into that, but I actually wound up getting my real estate license and I started to just create my own brand. Obviously, like you probably don't know, but I left that marriage in a different marriage now, but I left that marriage. And the reason why I actually did it because of real estate is because it's something that can be flexible with my schedule. So I laugh because my schedule isn't flexible at all. It's obviously my clients' schedules, right? But
Hmm.
I started out and it's been like building this brand and just growing this like organization that I'm like obsessed with and surrounding myself around like the right type of people too. So it's just exploded over the past 12 years.
Yeah, talk a little bit more about that because I think that's a valuable point in terms of developing yourself to be successful is having a great inner circle. So what are some characteristics and traits that these people have that you really like and have maybe attached to?
So what I started out into real estate, I actually started out with like a lot of negative people around me, as everyone probably in this world has, because this world is typically, unfortunately, is kind of negative, right? So I always talk about this little like bubble that I put myself in, and I still talk about it. So when I first started real estate, I remember I was like the realtor who came in. Now I'm older, but like 12 years ago, I was my late 20s then, right? And I came into real estate, and they're like, "Oh, that new agent who doesn't really." No, actually, I was in my 20s. Yeah, late 20s, maybe early 30s. But they're like, I was using emojis and just like having fun with it because that's what I did with the shakes, right? I was like, just having fun. And I'm like, if I'm gonna get into a job and have this, I'm just gonna have fun with it. Like the money will come if you grow, if you love what you do, right?
Hmm.
So I almost created like this bubble around me. I had this agent be like, oh my God, this little agent coming in thinking that emojis are gonna sell houses. And I could have taken that as like offensive, but instead I was like, actually, they kind of do, right? And I started from that point on, it like instilled in me, like it is so important to like let people what they say to you, um, like listen to it, but don't take it to heart, right? So from that point forward, I started surrounding myself only around people who had that same mindset. And now I've built what's called Opulent EXP Realty. So it's a brand over here in my state that we've got agents in Indiana and Florida too. We're expanding all over. But same thing. I only bring agents in who have that like positive mindset. The people who are thinking like, I want to see bigger, I want to do more, I want to like grow more. If like any agent comes in and they're already like negative or like bashing someone else or small talking, like that's 100% like no go in my business, you know?
Hmm.
So hold on, I drink some water. My throat's a little dry.
No worries.
But yeah, so what came about with Grant though is because now I'm in this whole other chapter of my life. This year, I started to surround myself around like obviously like Grant Cardone, if you know who he is, and like
Mhm.
all of those people who are not like money matters, but honestly like millionaires and billionaires, or who like I started like surrounding myself in more so because I thought, okay, I'm gonna get obsessed with these people. I'm gonna figure out what these people did to start their business and create this like big brand. And if they can do it, like, why can't I do it? You know? So that's kind of like where I like started growing now into coaching and into now I'm like honestly like a 7-figure business in a matter of like 7 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, talk to me a little bit more about coaching. What are some of the things that you tell these individuals to really grow and strengthen on and, improve upon and all these things that get them to be where they maybe see themselves down the road, super successful, 7-figure business, those type things.
Yeah, so I figured out from just really early on as coaching people that a lot of people struggle with that this image. Like they know they want to be something better, they know they want to get somewhere, like you said, they envision themselves somewhere in 10 years or 5 years, but they just don't know how to get there. They don't know the steps to take, and a lot of it honestly is deep within themselves. It's their own mindset and people and things that have happened to them that have put instilled in them that like maybe they aren't good enough or they can't do it or they're holding them back. Or you compare yourself like, if I made 100,000, I'm good compared to the person who makes 30,000. Do you know what I mean? Like, I teach a ton about finding that inner potential and that mindset, finding that mindset and developing those skills to not only go and now we conquer into what your actual specific business is and how to get there, but it all really starts with that mindset and waking up every single day and doing a routine and retraining your mind and your habits to become that person you are and you want to be. Start living that life that you know you can be and you will be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Randy, how do you get that mindset to stick though? Because most people, they do this New Year's resolution where it
Yeah.
sticks for 4 or 5 days, maybe a week, and then it's gone. But that's kind of what I'm getting at here is this could start for a pattern of 4 or 5 days. You're getting up at 5 a.m., building this workout routine, creating that mindset, listening to David Coggins and all this great stuff. But how can you get it to last a month, 2 months down the road? Like how does that work?
So that's obviously why you'd hire me as your coach. But honestly, you have to commit to it. Like no matter what you do, I talk about my training as like as if you're hiring like a physical trainer, right? Because you pay for it in advance, right? Just like a physical trainer or a health coach or whatever, you pay for it in advance. So if you don't pay for it, if you don't use it, you just lose all that money. And like we don't make money to lose money, right? But like it is that simple as literally waking up and committing, writing down your goals, but massive. Grant talks about 10x goals. Have you ever heard him say that or heard of that? Like the massive, that's why it's called 10x coach. Like all of our dreams, we tend as humans to limit our goals and set our goals like just like reachable so that we don't let ourselves down, right? But all we're doing is actually letting ourselves down, right? So every single day, we just have to wake up and commit. Like there are things and there are days that will come in and maybe like you'll have a bad day or you're sick or something happens. Like I allow yourself a little bit of time to rest in order to get there, but always every single day commit. And I do think coaching, no matter what aspect of life you're in, coaching is super important for that aspect, is it holds you accountable. So it's literally like, here's what we need to do. Here's writing affirmations. Now let's write out your own specific goals. See them every single day. And then see the bigger purpose and not even that's just the financial gain behind it, not even just breaking down the financial part of it, but like the purpose behind why you want to live that life, right? So if it comes down to like someone saying to me, hey, I want to grow my business to, um, income, my net income to be $2 million, right? It's like, okay, great. That's a good income goal. But what is your purpose? What will you do with that money? It's way beyond just getting to that goal because it's also getting to that goal, sustaining that goal, and then creating that goal over and over and over and keep on continually raising that goal, right? Because a lot of times too, people hit a goal and then they're kind of like, I'm good. And then they just stop. Like you said, they're just done. And
Mhm.
then they're back into their old habits. It's literally training your mind to think a completely different way.
What do you say to people that don't care about this, that just genuinely don't get excited about any of the things you just said? Because I get excited. You
Yeah.
have people that get excited. Obviously, you get excited. But what about the people listening today that genuinely doesn't get them excited?
You mean improving their life or
Yeah.
what doesn't? I
Yeah.
mean,
Just improving
honestly,
their life,
it is what
motivation,
it is.
discipline.
Because you know what? I always say, I'm sorry, I can help you, but you got to help yourself. I can give you all the coaching and all the recommendations, and I am super excited. Like I always say, you get to hang out with me, and I will pump you up because every single day I pump myself up. You know, but every single day, like if you don't want to genuinely increase your life, I think that is something that you need to look within yourself and figure out why. Is there something that is holding you back? Because I feel like everyone genuinely really does want to improve their life. What's the purpose of life if living your life just being content or being kind of like paycheck to paycheck or just living to live? Like, I think there is something, maybe there's something inside of you or them or whoever that maybe they're scared. Maybe they're content because they don't know any different or they're just fine living by. And if that's okay, that's fine. Like, I'm not for everyone. Coaching isn't for everyone. The 10x massive way is absolutely not for everyone. But I do feel that it is for a lot of people who don't realize, you know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
they're scared. Or if you ever think to like an inner child, you know, when someone is like a child and they have no fears, they're like, when I get older, sorry, when I get older, I'm going to be a baseball player. No, do you have kids or not?
I do not know.
Okay.
I'm
So I
getting
have four
married in
kids.
October.
Oh, congratulations. That's
Yes.
exciting. So
Yep.
maybe
Super
one
excited.
day. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So, but think about when you were a kid, right? Um, you think about the goals and ambitions you had, and people would sometimes say, okay, tone it down a little bit, right? Tone
Mhm.
it down. Maybe that's great. You want to be a baseball player, but what else do you want to be? Like little by little, from the day we were born, people have been telling us that we can't do what we want to do. But if you look at a kid and you look at their goals, they literally have no fears. They are ready. For the most part, kids are like, their dreams are big and their dreams are like, I want to be a baseball player. I want to be a YouTuber. I want to do this. I want to be a celebrity. I want to be a singer. But you have life and people and those negative people and even like people like the parents. Like sometimes I even catch myself as my kids. Okay, great. Let's do that. But what else can we do? And I limit myself like, okay, like that's what we have every single day. You wake up and people are like picking at you, picking at you, picking at you. Maybe they mean well, but they are. So slowly your dreams and your goals and your self-worth, unfortunately, just start to feel like, okay, I know people have done it, but something it like starts to resonate with you, right? Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
No, I
So
love
we
that
have to
point.
like get that, we have to get that inner child back. So even like for my own kids too, when they're like, what can we do? And I'm like, okay, let's like even I've got a little 6-year-old who's very spunky and very opinionated. She's a little girl and she's my baby. She's my fourth, and she's just very loud and very bossy. And sometimes I have to like tone myself being back and be like, okay, I need to let her be how she is, you know, because I don't want her to lose that spunk, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. What do you I love that you hit on the part of like taking risks because obviously that's a huge factor of being an entrepreneur, of having the entrepreneurial spirit. So thinking back to, tie in your experiences with that, what's a risk that you had to take? And because you had the mindset, because you had your motivations, because you had your priorities straight, it led to success because people want to hear those success stories.
Yeah. So gosh, I have so many of these like risks. Again, not to go full into it. I was in a marriage prior that wasn't great for me. We just weren't great for each other. And it was super hard to leave because it was just comfortable. It was not good, but it was comfortable. So my first thing would be leaving that relationship. That was like such a scary freaking risk to leave something I was so comfortable with and just start on my own, right? But on top of that, even more to relate to other people, for instance, just recently, I'll give you guys a recent example. Coaching came to me. Grant, I was going to start, like I got offered a position to sell with him. And I sell a lot in real estate. Like I make really good money in real estate, 6, 7 figures in real estate alone. So I didn't necessarily need to coach, right? But like this opportunity came, and I was like, either I'm going to step right into it, I'm going to go into it, or I'm just gonna just let it pass me by. And all of a sudden I started just literally inserting myself with people, name dropping some of these celebrities, some of these ex-football players, some of these other co-hosts of like Owning Manhattan. I started talking to one of their cast members that's a real estate show. I just started like talking to them, like kind of how I did to you, just being like, here I am, here's an open book, here I am. But I think the risk I took on that is like, you know what? I am not at these level of these billionaires, right? Of these celebrities, but I'm just going to take the risk and jump right in. And if they say no, they say no. But they didn't say no. People didn't say no to talk to me. So they actually wound up like bringing me in, and then hearing these stories of these entrepreneurs. So I'm going to be 42, and I know you're younger, but I don't know how your listeners, the age of everyone. But like, I always hear all the time, like even from my own dad and my mom, hi, if you guys are listening, but like, oh, I'm too old to start. I'm too old to do this. And here I'm talking about Grant, because again, I told you I'm working with him now, started his own business, started really becoming successful at between the ages of 42 and 52. Like, there's so many people in this world who are like, no, in my 40s and 50s, I can't start a business right now. But that's yourself telling you that, right? So the risk that I'm taking, like things that I do, I just see opportunities and I jump right into it. Like, it's something that I've learned to do, and everything, and I take away that complete victim mentality. So if anything happens, if I take a risk and it doesn't work out, I learn whatever I can from it, right? So use everything you do as like a learning experience too, okay? Because there's going to be things that happen that you're like, I took the risk, but if I didn't take the risk, I wouldn't have done this. Like, everything you do does happen for a reason. And I truly, truly believe that.
Do you strategize when you do these so-on called risks, or are you just like full speed ahead jumping into them?
Well, I analyze to make sure it's within the business and the brand that I want to work with. So for instance, like my real estate, like I actually just last year, I started coaching a little bit for real estate. And then I said I put that on hold. And then I actually wound up opening my own office. And I've had my own office open. I opened it this year. And now I'm like, this is great. I love my office. I love my agent. We've got great, great business. And then coaching came with Cardone. So I was like, shit, like I'm going to do real estate coaching because it actually aligned with my values and who I am in this big brand. So what I talk to people is like, you are your brand. We're in this world right now in 2025. We're in this world of like, there's so much opportunity and money and possibility everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's so much around you, right? But it's putting yourself in that situation. So when everything I do, I jump into things that I know that I'm going to learn from. So I do analyze it a little bit, but if something like there's a little risk or a big risk, and it looks like the risk is little in comparison to like what I'm going to gain from it, I'm all in. And when I'm all in, I'm all in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I do analyze a little bit. Yeah.
Randy, you hit on a point right there that I really liked. You talked about values. I think core values are essential. How did you find out your core values, and how do others find their core values if they don't know what they are right now?
This is the thing that I think everyone really needs to look within themselves. So I talk a lot about branding, and I say I'm a lifestyle realtor, I'm a lifestyle like coach, like lifestyle, brands, values. It all comes into literally learning how to be raw and honest with yourself. It's so simple, but there's so many people out there who are trying to be someone they're not, and they're not able to fully dig within themselves to figure out, who are they? What are they? Like, where did you lose yourself? Because I'm sure that we have over and over and many times. Everyone listening here has lost themselves at least once. What do we want to be? Like, what matters to us? If we can think of this perfect world, nothing is perfect. But if we can think of this world and this perfect world that we want to create and these people that we want to surround ourselves with, what do they like? What, you know what I mean? So it's also just like going into like thinking core values is honestly as simple as like digging deep within yourself and saying, this is what, take a piece of paper. I'm so big on writing everything down. Take a piece of paper, write down, these are my goals. This is what I believe in. This is what matters to me. This is what's super important. And then only surrounding yourself with people who have those same values or bigger or better than yours. It sounds, we overcomplicate everything as people. but that's just what our world does. We overcomplicate everything, right? But
Oh
it's as
yeah.
simple as like finding that and then holding on to that and then also giving that to the world, becoming what you value to the world. If I say I'm positive, I'm happy, I really am. Like I love women. I'm like a really woman inspirer. Like I love women. Not like that way, but I like, I'm married. But either way, I'm a big woman supporter. But yeah, so I resonate with that. So my brand, my realtors, I've got some males. My husband's a realtor too. My new husband, we've been together 8 years now, but so we do have that, but it's like I only allow people within my inner circle who resonate with everything that who I am, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. So it sounds to me like you're a mom, you're a passionate speaker, you are an entrepreneur, and you obviously are a coach. So out of all of those things, I want to leave this podcast with a message from you. What is something you've learned from either one of those important categories that you want to share with others today?
So what I want to share with anyone, whenever I talk to someone, I just want everyone to know that like you are in charge of your own life. Like you really are in charge. Like you are not a victim. Like anything that's happened to you, take it down and learn from it, learn from it and then move on. Like anything that you want to do in life, like don't limit yourself because the only person who is stopping you from anything you want to do in life, like anything at all. If you want to be married, if you want to live in a farm, if you want to travel the world, if you want to be a billionaire, the only person who can do it is yourself, you know? So start talking to yourself like the way you do and start investing into yourself, whether or not it's investing in coaching, whether or not it's just positive affirmations, the right music, watching and listening to the right educational things, whatever it is. I just want to leave you guys with you can do literally, like people have told you that, like you find your inner child, like you can do really whatever you put your mind to it. And I truly believe that.
Yeah, I believe it too. So thank you so much, Randy, for being on the show today. Really appreciate it and got to learn a lot of new mindset information, which I love. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Yeah. All right. I'll talk to you later.